Hello everyone, my name is Mirko and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another brand new Apex Legends video. And in today's video I'm going to be giving you guys some crucial tips on how to survive longer in Apex Legends, specifically ranked mode, because ranked mode is where there is a lot on the line and there is a lot at stake. You want to make sure you're getting them placement points and you're always going to be going against good players every single game. So I'm going to give you guys some crucial tips, and without further ado guys, let's jump straight into the video. So the first thing we're going to be speaking about is holding your distance between you and the enemy. You want to make sure you're holding a good enough distance so if you do want to retreat, you can do so comfortably without having to be forced into a gunfight with the enemy. Ranked mode does not reward you for playing aggressively, but it does reward you for surviving longer and getting them placement points. So you do not want to be playing aggressive, and when you're engaging in gunfights with an enemy and you see they're slowly pushing you, every time they push you, you want to move a step further back. You want to make sure you're holding the distance between you and the enemy, so if you do need to retreat in any sort of situation, you can do so and not be taken down. This also works really well if you're outnumbered and there's only one or two of your teammates left in the game and you're going against a team of 3. Holding your distance is actually really good because you always have that backup plan, and as I said, every time the enemies push closer towards you, you want to increase that gap because you don't want to get to a point where you're too close to the enemies and you're basically forced to go into a gunfight. Now this tip especially works really well for people that are sniping as well, or using any long range weapons, because not only will it keep you in a more safer position, but it will give you more opportunities to snipe people, because if you are sniping at really close range, you will most likely get taken down by someone spraying an SMG or using a shotgun. Now if you guys are usually solo queuing like myself, be sure you're telling your teammates to increase the distance between you and the enemies, because not a lot of people actually use this tip, and more people need to be using this in game, because a lot of people are just going down because it will get to a point where the enemies are so close to you that they'll just be able to take full control. The only time you do not want to be increasing the gap is if your team have got a huge advantage over the other team, but usually when your team have got the advantage, the enemy teams will not be pushing you, and instead that's when you need to be pushing the enemies, only if you have a huge advantage. Now the next thing we're going to speak about is understanding who has the advantage, and you always want to make sure you're fighting on your terms, not the enemy's terms. I made a video specifically on this subject quite a few months ago, but I'm going to roughly go over it again because there's quite a few of you new people that have subscribed to the channel and haven't seen that video. So in that video I spoke about how cover has a huge effect on who's got the upper hand in a gunfight. Before you actually do head on into a gunfight, you need to think to yourself, who actually has the upper hand? You do not want to enter into a gunfight that has a 50-50 chance of you coming out on top, and in that case you don't want to be going into the gunfight at all. Now I'm sure you guys are aware of height advantages, why someone that has a height advantage is more than likely going to win the gunfight, because first of all, they can back out at any time and they can see more of you than you can of them. If you see a full squad that has not even spotted you, that puts you already at a huge advantage, because you can go in and choose when to shoot at the enemies. You can guarantee yourself to deal damage into them before they can turn around and shoot at you, and depending on what position you're in, you're fighting on your terms, because the enemies, I can guarantee you, they do not want to be in that situation. Bearing in mind they've just been lasered and they haven't got as much health, they do not want to be engaging with you, and that's where you've got the full control. However, if this is vice versa and you're in the position where enemies have come up to you and they started shooting at you, you do not want to be looking for them, turning around, seeing where you're being shot from. The first thing you want to do is reposition, just disengage completely. And that brings me on to my next tip, knowing when to retreat / disengage. Now this is actually such a skilled thing that people can do, and you know a good player when they're completely disengaged halfway through a gunfight at times. Now we're going to specifically talk about during a gunfight, knowing when to retreat, because a lot of people seem to think that when you're both engaging in a gunfight, you and the enemy, there has to be an outcome, but that's not always the case. You can actually disengage halfway through that gunfight if you feel like at any time it's going to go 50-50 way. It could go to the enemy or it could go to you. Just because an enemy is a few shots away from going down, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to continue the gunfight, because if you're being lasered yourself, it's better to retreat staying alive than risk going down. And a lot of people get drawn into the temptation of really wanting to down the enemy, and that's why they don't retreat and they don't disengage from the gunfight, and it takes a really good player to have that willpower to completely disengage, and it saved my life a lot of times. Every second during a gunfight with another team, I always check how much damage I'm dealing into the enemy versus how much damage they're dealing into me. If I feel like I'm landing way more shots than the enemy is, then I will continue on with the gunfight, but if I have any doubt in my head, I will just completely avoid it and disengage almost straight away. Don't get me wrong, sometimes you just can't avoid a gunfight. Maybe there's no cover next to you, or maybe you're not getting the right support from your teammates, but in this situation, then obviously there's nothing you can do and you just need to go for the gamble. But this is where your Legends choice comes into play as well. If you're playing ranked mode, you really need to start prioritising survivability, and there are some Legends in this game that completely have no effect on the game at all. A legend like Lifeline is really not a good choice to be using in ranked, because although Lifeline can provide some good health benefits, her abilities cannot cause a huge impact in the game. Other legends such as Wraith's tactical ability can help you get out of trouble easily, or even Mirage or Pathfinder. I mean, these legends here are really good legends for survivability and to help you stay alive longer. So I hope all of you guys take these tips on board the next time you go into a game of ranked play, or even if you play a standard pub game of Apex Legends. Be sure to use these tips in game, and the next time you're engaging with an enemy, is this team about to push me? If so, let's increase the distance between me and the enemies. Also, you need to be thinking, have I got the upper hand against this team? If not, let's reposition to gain the upper hand. And you also need to be thinking during a gunfight, am I going to be winning this gunfight, or is it too much of a close call? So anyway guys, my name has been Mirko. As always, if you did like the video, be sure to drop in a like down below to support the video. And if anyone is watching that is currently not subscribed to the channel, I recommend you subscribe down below for awesome Apex Legends videos like the one you've seen today. Anyway, thank you all for watching this video. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll catch all of you guys out in another brand new Apex Legends video.